Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's Daf Yomi. MOED KATAN Yud Zayin. We begin on Tazayin Amud Beis, 2 lines from the bottom. Amar Rabbi Tanchum, Brei de Rabbi Chia Ish Kvar Akoy. In the name of Amar Rabbi Yaakov Bar Acha, Amar Rabbi Simloi. That's one version. V'Amrila. There's another version of who said this halacha. Amar Rabbi Tanchum, Amar Rav Huna. V'Amrila. A third version. Amar Rav Huna l'chudei. He himself related this halacha, which is that Talmud shenida l'chvoidoi. Suppose a Talmud, not a Talmud Chacham, he's just a student in the yeshiva, Adam Chashav, but a Talmud. Nonetheless, if he applied nidoi l'chvoidoi, because the perpetrator was mevazem, degraded the Talmud, it works, it's effective. Nidoi, he has the ability to apply a nidoi in this case. That's a chiddush. The Sanya, how do we know this? Menuda l'Rav, Menuda l'Talmud. We had this halacha yesterday. If one was affected by nidui from a Rav, it affects all his Talmidim as well. So they all have to keep away from this fellow. But Menuda l'Talmud, the Talmud applied a nidui. Ein Menuda l'Rav, it doesn't affect the Rav. Now, we learn l'Rav the Ein Menuda. It doesn't affect the Rav because he stands higher. He's not affected by the nidui of his own Talmud. Apparently, everybody else is affected by the nidui applied by the Talmud. Lamai, what was the cause? What was the basis of this nidui? What did this fellow do wrong that he deserved nidui? Is it that he negated Hashem's words? He was a Rashi, did Averis, and that's why he was deserving of the nidui? Well, in that case, it should affect everybody equally. Ein chachma, ve'ein tvuna, ve'ein eitzet l'neged Hashem. When it comes to matters of Hashem, there's no wisdom, there's no hierarchy. Everybody is treated equally. And this fellow was deserving of nidui because of something he did spiritually between himself and Hashem. And everyone has to follow that nidui. Everybody has to distance this fellow. Why does the Brisa say, well, the Rav is not included? Elolav l'kavod atzmai. Apparently, what happened was he was mavaza, the Talmud. And the Talmud, in defense of his honor and his kavod HaTorah, has the ability to apply a nidui, but that's only going to affect him and others on the same level, but not the Rebbe who stands higher. Right from here, that even a Talmud could be menade l'chvoidei. Amar Rav Yosef, tzurba merabon, a young Talmud Chacham, ave dina l'nafshei, he can conclude his own din without going to the Bezdin. B'mila de psikalev, but something that's clear to him. And Rashi seems to learn that he's going to be machayev, his opponent. You chayev $1 million. I know this is a clear halacha. He doesn't have to go to Bezdin. Other Rishonim seem to learn that we're speaking about personal offenses. He can apply a nidui when he knows with certainty that he's in the right and he was insulted in a way that it degrades his kavod HaTorah. There's a story involving Ahu Tzur b'Merabanan, this young Talmud Chacham, that was Sanu, Shem Anei. He had a bad reputation going. Sanu was a Lashon Sinna. It was an inappropriate, there was some bad rumors circulating about him. So the Shmuah was inappropriate, that he was behaving inappropriately, and what are we going to do with him? We have a dilemma. Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Heichli Avad, what should we do? L'shamte, put him in Cherem. That's problematic because the Rabbanon, the Talmidim in his city, they need him. They need to consult him. He's an Adam Chashav, very knowledgeable fellow. On the other hand, Leila Shamte, should we not do a Shamta, not apply Cherem? Well, that's not also a good. That's not either a good solution. Kamischel Shma Deshmaya. He's going to create a Chil Hashem. People will say, well, you see, the Chachamim cover for each other. They're not honest. So what do? Amar lei l'Rabba bar Chana. So Rabbi Yehuda turns to Rabba bar Chana and says, could you investigate, could you look into this halacha? Mi'idi shmiya Allah baha. Have you any information regarding this type of halacha? Did you hear anything regarding this case? Amar he responded, actually yes. Hachi Amar Rabbi Yechanan. I'll tell you something in the name of my Rabbi Yechanan. Ma'dichsiv. What does the pasuk mean when it says Kisiv say koyen yishmeru das v'Torah yivachshu ripiu ki malach Hashem tzvakesu, which indicates that you only learn Torah from a Rebbe who's a malach. Literally a malach? No, obviously not. What does the pasuk then mean when it equates a Rebbe to a Malach? Status-wise, integrity. In Doima Harav L'Malach Hashem. If the Rav is like a Malach, he's consistent, in and out. He practices what he preaches. He's a Erlich Yid. Then you go seek Torah from him. But otherwise, if he's a fellow who lives an inconsistent life, on the outside he's virtuous, on the inside he's less than virtuous, then you're not meant to seek Torah from him. And therefore, this Talmud Chacham, despite the fact that he's a knowledgeable fellow, you're not meant to seek his counsel or learn his Torah in any case. So there's no harm in putting him into Cherem. So indeed, Shamte, he applied a Cherem. Shamte Rabbi Yehuda. L'soif ichlesh Rabbi Yehuda. Turns out Rabbi Yehuda took ill. He got sick. Now he didn't take it personally. As Sefer Hasidim points out, at times Hashem will test a person. He does something which he thinks is right. He thought it through. This is what Hashem wants. And then something goes wrong. He fails. He's unsuccessful. He gets sick. So this can cause him to doubt, to second guess what he did. No. It's just a test. And that's what happened here. Rabbi Yehuda thought through what he did. It was correct. It was calculated. It was the right thing to do. And even though he got sick, he didn't regret what he did. He stood fast. So he got sick. Also Rabbanon l'shiyul beit. The Chacham came to visit him. And this fellow who was put in Cherem also arrived. Obviously, he wasn't mingling. It was 4 amos away. But he also came to visit Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda notices him. He begins to smile. Amar lei, so this fellow tells Rabbi Yehuda, it's not enough that you put me into Cherem. Ela achuchi. Nami chayich, but you're laughing? You're laughing at me? Amar lei chas v'shem. He says, no, chas v'shem. I'm not laughing at you personally. I'm pleased with what I did. I'm proud with what I did. The reason why I'm smiling is because I'm anticipating arriving at Olam Emes very soon. I'm happy. I'm pleased. When I go there, I'm going to be ecstatic. I'm going to be so proud of myself. Because even to a person in your stature, I didn't flatter. I was straightforward. I did the right thing. So I'm proud of what I did. As soon as I saw you, I was filled with contentment. And in fact, Rabbi Yehuda got sicker, and eventually he died. Rabbi Yehuda passes away. Also, so this Talmud Chacham who was placed in Cherem shows up to the Beis Medrash. Amar lahu surely. He says to Rabbanan, please release me of this Cherem. Amar le Rabbanan respond, we have a problem. Gavra the Chashav Rabbi Yehuda. There's nobody on Rabbi Yehuda's level to nullify his nidui. Who can release that nidui? Ella rather, here's some advice. Zil gabet Rabbi Yehuda Nasiya. Go to Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. And Nasi has the ability to release any type of nidui. Who can address your Cherem. So his fellow arrived at Rabbi Yehuda Nasi's place. Amalei Rabbi Ami. So Rabbi Yehuda turns to Rabbi Ami, a Talmud. He says, Poik ayin bedine. Go and investigate this matter and see if there's any grounds for releasing him from his nidui. If we should try to release him of his nidui. Surely. If there's a reason to release him, you can go release him. Ayin Rabbi Ami bedine. So Rabbi Ami looked into the matter. Several Mishlei figured, okay, it's time to remove the Cherem. Amad Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmani al Raglav. So Shmuel got up and he says, how can you do that? V'amar. Uma shivcha shel beis Rebbe. Look, even the maidservant of Rebbe was a chashav, a lady, as we're going to see soon, and she, it so happens that one time she put somebody in Cherem for something that he did wrong. It was 3 years running that nidui. Chacham did not negate, did not neglect, did not take it lightly. They kept it in place for 3 years. Yehuda Chavereinu Lachas Kama V'Kama. Certainly, a nidui applied by our colleague Rabbi Yehuda, such a great tzaddik, of course we can't just neglect and negate his nidui. We can't just remove it. Amar Rab Zera. So Rab Zera turns around and he says, Maida, come on, what's going on here? The Asa Idna. That just today, Hai Saba came to the Beis Medrash, his older tzaddik, or Shmuel Menachmeni, came to the Beis Medrash. So Maida, come on, what happened here? The Asa Idna, Hai Saba Beis Medrash. It's only today the tzaddik showed up to Beis Medrash. The Kama Shani Lo Asa. It's been a couple of years that this older tzaddik hadn't come to the Beis Medrash. Suddenly he's here today. That's a sign of Shemayim. Apparently Hashem doesn't want us to remove the nidui. Lo Sharalei, so Rav Ami did not remove it. Nafak, so this Talmud Chacham who had the nidui placed on him, he left the Beis Medrash pretty downtrodden. Kika Bachi v'Azl, he was crying bitterly, he was walking along, and what happened? Sazi Bura, a creature, a tzira, some say it's a bee, some sort of creature came along with Tarkei, A'amse, v'Shachar. And bit him on his Eivra Zachar. Tosha says Mida because he was suspected there was nos. So he got his punishment of V'shacham and he passes away. So where do we bury him? Ailuo Lima'arta de Chasidi. They brought him to the cave which housed the Kvarim of the Chasidim, of the righteous, the extra righteous tzaddikim. Bloki Blue, and they didn't accept him there because he was undeserving of keeping them company. So second best was Ailuo Lima'arta Dayani. They brought him to the resting place of the Dayanim. Vicky Blue, and they accepted him. My time. Why would they accept him in the Ma'arav Dayanim? So the Ma'arav Chasidim didn't work. Rashi says, Hadar Achna, it was a snake that blocked the entranceway. The snake was like a circle. He had his tail in his mouth and blocked the entranceway. But in the Ma'arav Dayanim, he was able to get in. My time. Why? Why so? Why did they accept him? David Kariloi, because he followed the advice of Rabbi Loi. He made an attempt. He tried. Made an effort to avoid chet. The Sanya, Rabbi Loi, Imroya Adam, Shiyitzer, Mizgaber Olav. If a person sees he's going to succumb to chet. So ideally, you battle, you fight. But he sees he's not gonna succeed. He's being realistic. What should he do? At least minimize the offense. Minimize the Chilul Hashem. Yelech l'makom she'em nakir noisei. He should go to a place where he's not known. V'yilbash shchorim, let him wear black. V'yis'atav shchorim, wrap in black. According to Tosfos, this means he's placing himself in a situation where he loses stature. They don't know him, they don't give him kavod. He's dressed shabbily. V'yasa mashali b'chavetz. In that case, let him do what his heart desires, and we hope the fact that he's feeling humble and degraded, that will take away the drive, the desire of the Yetzer Hara. So let him do so. And avoid Chilul Hashem. So Rashi learns like this. Rashi is about 20 lines from the top of the Amud. He says, Mashali b'chavetz means like this. He'll have to do the Avera. It's inevitable. He knows he's going to fall through. Fine. At least minimize. And do the Avera. So ideally overcome, but if you have no way, you see you're about to succumb, at least minimize. Go to a place where they don't know you, which will take away the Chilul Hashem aspect. Because they don't recognize you as a tzaddik, they don't have high expectations of you. There's one pshat in Rashi. Listen to the second pshat in Rashi. V'amalon Rebbe, Mishum Rav Hai Goin, V'yasa Mashli B'chavetz means, like this, Roitza Leimer. The Avadai Kivan, Shalava Shchorim. We are certain. Since he degrades himself, he's mavaz himself. Ani Orev B'darav, I guarantee, She'ena Chavetz Mekan Ve'elach B'Avera. He'll no longer have any desire for Avera. That's what Rabbi Levi meant. Chas v'shalom, you shouldn't do the Avera. It means develop a situation, a circumstance, which will take away the entire drive. Yetzer Hara thrives on haughtiness, on self-respect, right? I deserve, I want to enjoy, but if he feels lowly and downtrodden, like in a time of Avelis, right? The person doesn't have a desire. His guf is sort of taking the back seat at that time. So that's the Eitzah that Rabbi Levi gives a person. Try to change the circumstance, perhaps it will affect the Yetzer Hara. Tosfos also learns, Chas v'shalom, he says, We're not giving him a green light to do the avera. Ella al yedei kach, through this procedure, yikana libay. We hope his heart will become nichna. He'll no longer desire the avera. In any case, this fellow, sure, he was engaged in inappropriate behavior, but he tried. He wore shchayrim. He did all the efforts to avoid the avera, and therefore he was deserving at least of joining the ma'ora of the dayanim. Taisin and Shabbos says dayanim are not always perfect people. Dayanim sometimes take a bribe or two, so it was okay. He fit right in there. Continues the Gemara. So he made reference to the Shivcha Shabbeis Rebbe, who applied a nidui. Chachamim took it seriously. What happened there? Shivcha Shabbeis Rebbe Mahi. The Amsa de Rebbe, the maidservant of Rebbe, Chazite Elu Gavra. She notices this fellow have a machi. He was striking Libnoi Gadol, his adult son. He was hitting him. Arma, she says, Liyahavi. How Gavra B'Shamta. This fellow should be in Cherem. He's presenting a stumbling block in front of a blind man. The Sani Brisa says, one example of Lifnei Iver is hitting your adult child. Rashi says, given the Gadol who Shema Mevait Ba'aviv, he might turn back and strike his father. And the father brought that about. So find other means of v'mechanach the child rather than striking him. Shlomo Volber writes that Bisman Hazeh, even a 3-year-old already has a din of a gadol, and he advises against physical, against corporal punishment. Use other means to influence your children to v'mechanach them. So that was a story regarding her nidui, and that's why Reb Shmuel says, when it comes to the nidui of Adam Gadol, we're not mezalzel, and therefore they kept it in place. There's another Maisa with Rish Lakish. Have a minter pradisa. He was guarding an orchard. He took a job as a watchman. Perfect job for a Talmud Chacham. He stands out there with a sefer. So he's watching the paradise. Sahu Gavra. This fellow comes along, this thief. V'kachel te'enim. And lo and behold, he's having some of those figs. Rama be'kala. Rish Lakish yells at him. Doesn't pay attention. Omar, Rish Lakish says, look, I have other tools at my disposal. I'm placing you in Cherem. Amalei said, the thief responds, Adarab, just the opposite. You should be in Cherem. Why? Just because I took something that didn't belong to me, I'm chayiv to pay, so fine. I have a monetary obligation. Nidu mischayav tilach. Since when am I deserving of nidu? Nidu is most severe. It's me'ein misa. We're going to see soon. I'm not deserving of that. You overreacted. So now Rish Lakish was in a bind. Should he be concerned about the nida imposed by the Ganav? He came to the Beis Medrash. He tells them the story. Amrulay, they tell him, yeah, this fellow has a point. Shalai nida. His nida is justified, is effective. Shalchayna nida, but yours is not. You have no right to be menada him. And Tosis asks, we learned yesterday that even when it comes to Dinei Mamres, we apply nida. Yeah, that's when he refuses to cooperate with Bezdin, but just like that, you steal something, you get cherem? That's not justified. It's overreaction. Umayta kante. So what should he do, Rish Lakish? Right? What should I do to remove the nida? Zilla gabe, the lishulach. Go to this fellow and ask him to remove it. I don't know who the thief is. Armalei. So they told him, Zilla gabe nesiya. Like we had earlier, go to the nasi, who has the ability to address all types of niduyim and charamim. The lishulach, who can release you of the nidu. The sandi will learn in a brisa. Nidu. If somebody was placed in nidu, he's not sure who did it. You go to the nasi who can address it for you. When the Bezdin Sanhedrin was in Usha, they were masakin as follows. Av Bezdin shel Sorach, the head of the court, the Av Bezdin, the Gadol Hadar, who strays. We don't apply nida. We want to minimize publicity and chilul Hashem when it comes to Adam Gadol. What then we do? We do it discreetly. We punish him, we address it, but in a discreet manner. We tell him, he covered v'shei beveischa. Rashi has two pshatim. He covered can mean weigh yourself down like you're not well. Just stay home as though you're not well. Another pshat, he covered lashon covered. to protect your honor and Kavanat Torah, just stay home. So it's not a full-fledged nidui. Chazav v'sarach, he strays again, a repetitive offender. Now we don't withhold anything. We apply a full-fledged nidui to protect Hashem's honor. U'plika de Reish Lakish. This halacha that we are menad even a Adam Gadol is cholik on Reish Lakish. The Amr Reish Lakish, Talmud Chacham Shesarach, ein menad an oisei b'farhesya. We never apply a public nidui to Talmud Chacham. Shenamar, Pasuk says, because shalta hayoyim, because shal gam navi imcha. Laila. So the Pasuk indicates that a downfall of a Chacham is like a Navi. It should be like Laila, darkness of night. We learn, Kaseyu Kalaila. Conceal it like the darkness of night. So put him in his place, but in a concealed, hidden, discreet way. Marzurchu Chasida. He did as follows. Kimechayev Zurbam Rabbana Shamta. If a young Talmud Chacham was deserving of Shamta, of Cherem, so what did he do? But Reisha Mashmis Nafshe. Initially, he would apply, Mazurcha would apply Shamta to himself. V'hadar Meshamet L'dei, then only afterwards. Step 2 was to apply the Shamta to the Talmud Chacham. Why? So Rashi says, out of kavod for the Tzubrim Rabbanon, Taisa says, Mishum Tsar, to show that he's participating in the Tsar. He's not taking it lightly. He's not doing it happily. So he's participating in the experience. Another pshat in Taisvus, he should remember to be mata the nidui of the Talmud Chacham. So first he affects himself, and then only to Talmud Chacham. This way he remembers. Oh, look, I have something to take care of at the earliest opportunity. So how long did this last? When he got home, when Mazurcha came to his home, first he removed his own cherem so that the family can interact with him. And then he would remove the nidui of the Talmud Chacham. This was just a quick, short-lived experience to teach him a lesson. Amar Rav Gidla Marav. Talmud Chacham menad la'atzmi. Talmud Chacham has the ability to apply nidui and remove the nidui. He doesn't need to meet up with other Talmud Chachamim. Even one Talmud Chacham can do it on his own. Amrav Papa, tasily, I'm deserving of credit. I never applied a Shamta to a young Talmud Chacham. What then? If I notice a Tzubrim Rabbanon deserving of Shamta, what would he do? Like in Eretz Yisrael, the Marava, in Eretz Yisrael, Mimnu Anagida, they would gather, they would paskin to apply Malkus to a Chacham, the Tzubrim Rabbanon, V'loi Mimnu, and they wouldn't take count, they wouldn't conclude, they wouldn't apply a Shamta. They wouldn't make a conclusion, meaning a psak, they wouldn't apply Shamta on a Chacham. So physical punishment is not as severe as the spiritual effect of a Shamta, of a Nidui. It's a greater bezayin, has a greater effect. It would minimize. And therefore, if Papa says, I did the same. A Tzubrim Rabbanon, I had respect for him, I punished him. But I preferred Malkus over Shamta. My Shamta, we speak about Shamta. What's the root? Where does it come from? Amarav, it stands for Sham Misa, a place of death. Shamta is a mini death, isolation, restricting of activities. Right? So that's where it comes from. In fact, the Gemara soon tells us that the effects of a nidui are detrimental. Misa, aini. So it's a mini misa. Shmuel Amar Shmamayeh. It should be desolate. So again, it's a similar concept, lashon of klala, of being cursed, of being isolated, separated, removed from society. Umahanyebe. And the effect of the shmama on the person is kitichya b'tanura, like grease smeared on a clay oven. As much as you clean it out, there's still something embedded in the oven here as well. Even once the cherem is removed, it has an effect on the person. It was absorbed into the person himself and affects him for the long term. Look at the Rish Lakish. This is in dispute of Rish Lakish. Damar Rish Lakish, no. Sure, it's powerful, but once you remove it, it's gone. Kishem shenechneses. Just as the cherem is absorbed within the entire person, entire 248 limbs, likewise when it's removed and released, it fully leaves from all the ivarim of the person, and it's no longer present within the person. Kishinichneses. How do you know that it affects the entire body? The city will be placed in Cherem, and Cherem is begematria. Its numerical value is 248. Masayim barboy mishmoina havu. And likewise, when it leaves the person, it totally leaves the person. The chsiv b'roiges racham tisk, although there was a roiges anger, but when it was overturned into rachmanas, into mercy, so we see that Cherem can be switched into rachim, and rachim begematria havu is a remez to removal of Cherem, which leaves entirely. The entire being of the person is released and relieved and cleansed of the Cherem effect. Amar Rav Yosef, suppose a dog is harassing somebody. Shadi Shamta should throw the Cherem, the Shamta, Agnufta de Kalba, onto the tail of the Kela. So apply the Shamta to the tail, V'ihi the Da'avda, and it's going to take care of the dog. So this is the way the Talmud Chacham applies the nidui to the tail, so to speak, and that sort of affects the entire dog. There was a story with a dog, the old kalpa. He would chew away at the sandals of the Chacham. Wake up in the morning, sandals are gone. The dog ate them up. But they had no idea which dog it was. So they applied a cherem onto that dog. And what happened? Isli ben Nura bekalpa. Suddenly his tail caught fire, and he was consumed. Hahu Alma, there was this violent fellow, he was harassing this young Talmud Chacham. Also, so he came to Rabbi Yosef and complained. What should I do about him? Amalei, he tells him, Zil Shamte, put him in Cherem. Amalei, he says, I'm concerned, I'm afraid that he's going to harass me even more. Amalei, he tells him, Shkilu Psicha Alei. Psicha is a document upon which they write the ksav of the Cherem. So, write up a document against this fellow. Well, certainly I have reason to be concerned, to fear this fellow. If I'm going to write a shtar and show it to him, as the Mepharshim say, instead of making a public scene, just write a shtar and show it to him. That's even worse, it's more personal. Amalei Sarasiv tells him, no, don't show it to him, don't tell him about it. Shakli, take the document, achte bekada, put it into a pitcher, quietly, v'achte bekivrim, put it into the Beis HaKvaros, where nobody's present, v'kori be alpha shipuri, and blow 1,000 times with your shofar into the pitcher. Barbon Yemen, do this for 40 days. So you see a remes from the Gemara, that skulos, the things going on for 40 days have an effect. So do this for 40 days. So apply the cherem in this manner with nobody around, and you'll have good results. Ozla v'tachis, he went and he did that. Paka kada, suddenly the pitcher burst. Umis alma, and the violent fellow passed away. So the cherem had its effect. Ma'ashi puri, why do we use shefaris when we apply the cherem? Shenefroin mimenu, it's a remes. Shefar nefroin, retribution. He gets what he deserves. My tavra, why is it that we blow tkiya and then shivarim, a broken sound, on Rabbi Yitzchak? Rabbi Yehuda, Tavri Bati Rami. This is a remes. Breakage of the Bati Rami. The tall imposing structures, meaning this fellow gets broken down, gets affected, and the Shamta punishes this fellow. The Sanya Omra B'Shim Gamliel Kol Mokim Shenasnu Chacham Meinem. Whatever the Chachamim apply their eyes critically, in a manner of punishment, they lay their eyes on a person. What does this result in? Oy misa, oy oyni. It results in either death or poverty. And that's why Shamta has this powerful effect. It's Nasnu Chacham Meineim. It's a version of Nisinas Ayin. The Rashik Savyad says, why Dafka Chachamim? I'll just read inside. On the side I have the Rashik Savyad. He says, Levishe'im Charifen Chacham are accustomed to analyzing this halacha, that halacha, the garba, the chefza, and they are used to being medaktik and being very precise and very critical due to their learning. So therefore, that's why their ayin, their perspective is very sharp and to the point. And therefore it has detrimental effect. They lay their eyes on something. It has that koyach of ayin, that ayin of din, of retribution, of oynesh, of gura. And he says, Shamta, einacha nesinas ayin doyle mezul. Shamta certainly is an expression of this ayin, of this sharpness, of this criticalness, and therefore it has this type of effect, misa aini. So Shamta, nida, cherem, is no light matter. It's nesinas einayim, which can have detrimental effect. Okay, getting back to the Mishnah. Typically we don't take a haircut, do laundry during Chol HaMoed, and the reason was, Kadesh lo yikansu lo regel kashem involved. We want to ensure that individuals are properly attired, properly present themselves respectfully and dignified for the Yom Tov. And therefore, we're meant to groom ourselves before the Yom Tov. We have some exceptions. V'nazir, v'metzoira, ha'olam t'masal ta'rasei. So Nazir needs to take a haircut at the end of his Nazirus period. A Metzoira, likewise, is meant to cut his hair on the 8th day of his Tahara process when he brings the Karbanos. These fellows are exempted. They're allowed to take a haircut during Chol HaMoed. Now, what are we speaking about? Ba'ominei, Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Zeir have a shayla. B'shelo lahem panai was speaking that they had no opportunity. Their 8th day, in the case of Metzoira, his 8th day falls out on Chol HaMoed, so he had no chance to take care of his hair before Yom Tov. That's why we allow it. Or perhaps was speaking, even if he had a chance. So they both could have taken care of themselves before Yom Tov. They didn't get around to it. And for some reason, we're going to allow it on Chol HaMoed, for whatever reason. We're going to see soon why. He says, you know what? Tanina. We have a brayso. All those individuals who are allowed to take their haircuts during Chol HaMoed is dafka b'shelo yolem penai, when they didn't have a chance to do so before Yom Tov. But if they had an opportunity before Yom Tov, they're no different than anybody else. They can't take a haircut on Chol HaMoed. However, Nazir Metzoira, even if though they did have a chance to do it before Yom Tov, mutar, they can still shave on Yom Tov. Why? We're concerned that they might leave their karbanos for after Yom Tov. Meaning, the Metzoira, he's meant to bring his carbon when he shaves. If you're not going to let him shave on Yom Tov, he's going to have to delay his giluach until after Yom Tov and bring his carbon then, which is late. Takes the asakasha that a nazir, his taglach is not ma'akiv. He can bring a carbon today without giluach. So a mitzvah needs both together, but a nazir doesn't. So he says that was the common practice. That was the regilus, that they would only bring the carbon during the giluach because they would take the hair and toss it under the under the pot in which the carbon was cooking. So it goes together, and therefore, if you're not going to allow shaving, he's not going to bring the carbon at all. Now the Mishnah Melch has a kasha now, Gemara Bam Kash. He says, one second. We're speaking that the Mitzvah was able to shave before Yom Tov, right? Avapi Shohel and Penai, which means his 8th day came out before Yom Tov. He chose to delay. Now it's Chol HaMoed, day 15, right? It's already a couple of days later. So in any case, it's past due date. He missed the 8th day. So what does the Gemara mean? We make exception. We allow him to shave, even though he could have done it before Yom Tov. We don't want him to delay the korbanos, which are meant to be brought b'yom hashmini. It's past the yom hashmini regardless. So that's his question. He says, Yadavid says, perhaps we can say what the Gemara means is we don't want to set a precedent. We don't want to create an impression that you can delay korbanos. So true, technically in this specific case, it's past the 8th day, it's past the Zman. So delaying a bit more doesn't seem to be a concern, but the next fellow would draw a conclusion from here, like, there's no rush when it comes to korbanos. So in order to avoid that sort of misunderstanding and confusion, we allow the Mitzvah to do this even on Chol HaMoed, to show how important it is to do things in its right time. Okay, so that's the conclusion. The Nazir and Mitzvah are allowed to shave even though they had the opportunity to do so before Yom Tov. Here comes a new brayso, a Tana. We have 2 more people to add to that list. Hakoyin v'aval. These 2 fellows, mutarin v'giluch. They can shave on Chol HaMoed. What are we speaking about? Hi aval hechedami. What type of mourner? Typically, an aval may not shave, may not take a haircut for the first 30 days So what are we speaking? Now, before we continue, just a short introduction is in place. We're going to see in a couple of days that Avelis is cut short by regel. Person is experiencing Avelis, and he already entered the Shloishim domain. He's past his Shiva. So he started his Shloishim, and then regel comes along. It cuts it short. It cancels the Shloishim, and he can take a haircut going forward. Now there's machlokes between Abba Shol, who says Mikzas Hayom Kekulei. Even experiencing part of that last day of the Shiva allows him to complete the Shiva and sort of start the Shloishim right there. So as soon as he enters day 7 of his experience, the 7th day of his Shiva is over, so to speak. He begins his Shloishim, and now if regel comes the next day, halacha is once you start Shloishim and the regel comes, it cancels the Shloishim. Chacham say, we don't say Mikzas Hayom Kekulei in this case. And the only way regel will cancel a Shloishim is if he's already in his 8th day. So he's past 7. He really experienced 7 full days of Shiva. Now he's in his 8th day. He entered the Shloishim territory. Right? Shloishim is the phase after the Shiva. So once he enters that territory and regel comes along, it cancels the Shloishim and he can shave. So that's the halacha that we need to know before we start the sukkah. So again, the Brisa says, an Kohen, an Aval, can be megaleach on Chol HaMoed. Hi Aval Hechedami. Where is this Aval situated? In what stage of his Avelis? Are we speaking that his 8th day, which is the first day of the Shloishim, fell out Erev Yom Tov. Okay? So why would we give him a license to shave on Yom Tov? He should have shaved right there. Because once he entered the Shloishim territory, he should be shaving right there. Right? He should have shaved right there. Why? Because even though it's not yet Yom Tov, right? It's only Erev Yom Tov, but since this Yom Tov is going to cancel that Avelis, as we explained, so since the Yom Tov will not have Avelis, so even the Erev Yom Tov is Mutter Begiluach, Lekavod Yom Tov. Ella apparently was speaking Shechal Shmini Shaloi Lios B'Shabbos Erev HaRegel. So apparently was speaking that the 8th day of his Avelis falls out on Shabbos, so he can't shave on that day, and the Shabbos happens to be Erev Yom Tov. And that's why he didn't shave before Yom Tov. So we allow him to shave on Yom Tov itself. That doesn't work. Erev Shabbos. In this case, he could have taken his haircut a day earlier, on Erev Shabbos, which is really the 7th day of his Shiva. Why? So again, if we're speaking that his 8th day came out Erev Yom Tov, he could have taken his haircut on that day. Why? Because since he entered the Shloishim, he's already past his Shiva, and in that case, the regel that's coming up soon will cancel the Shloishim. Right? Because once you enter the Shloishim, the regel comes along and cancels it. So since he will not be experiencing, he will not be observing Avelos during the regel, he can already take his haircut Erev Yom Tov. He'll cover that regel. Because if the regel doesn't interfere with his, the regel interferes with his, it cancels the Avelos, so the Erev Yom Tov as well. He'll cover that Yom Tov he can shave. So that wouldn't be, there wouldn't be no reason in this case to allow him to shave on Yom Tov. He could have done it before. Ella was speaking, his 8th day falls out on Shabbos, which was Erev Yom Tov. So he couldn't shave on that day. Well, in this case, says the Gemara, he could have shaved the day earlier on Erev Shabbos. Why? For 2 reasons. Firstly, halacha k'Abashol. We follow Abashol's shita. Again, Abashol holds that once he's in his 7th day of Shiva, we say Mikzas Hayom Kekulei. Once he experienced part of that day, we consider as though he experienced the entire day, because once you have part of the day, you have experienced it somewhat. So you concluded this Shiva, and it's as though he now transitioned into the Shloishim territory. And the halacha is that regel is mevatel the Shloishim. So since the upcoming Yom Tov is going to take away the Shloshim, so even on Erev Yom Tov, you can already shave L'kavadeh Yom Tov. So that's one reason why he can shave Erev Shabbos, which is day 7 of his Shiva, because like Abba Shol. And number 2, U'moidem Chacham L'Abba Shol, even the Chachamim, who generally hold that one has to experience 7 full days of Shiva before you can be considered to have entered Shloshim, but they agree in this case, if there's 8th day of Shiva, day after Shiva, the 8th day of the tragedy falls out on Shabbos, Erev Yom Tov, in this case, we're given a special license, special pass. You can shave a day earlier. Shemuta l'galeach b'Erev Shabbos. You give him galeach on Erev Shabbos, which in this case is really day 7. So typically day 7 you can't shave. You need full 7 days, but in this case, explains Taisu, since day 8 falls out on Shabbos, which is Erev Yom Tov, and Yom Tov itself is going to cancel the Shloshim because he already experienced 8 days before the Shloshim. Before the regel, he's already in his Shloshim. So the regel certainly cancels the rest of the Shloshim. So since this particular regel has the power to uproot the Avelis, it's inconsistent with the Avelis, so Taisa says because of Kavod Yom Tov, we apply Mikzas Yom Kikulay, and we say, you know what, even on day 7, you can shave in honor of this upcoming Yom Tov, which will take away the Avelis. That's the Svara of the Gemara. So bottom line is, if we're speaking about any of these two cases, there would be no reason to allow him to shave on Yom Tov. He could have done it before. Again, either we're speaking that his 8th day falls at Erev Yom Tov, shave today. If the 8th day falls at Erev Yom Tov, which happens to be Shabbos, shave yesterday. So why does the Brisa allow the Oval to shave on Yom Tov? Leitzricha, apparently we're speaking Shechal Shvi Shaloi Lias B'Shabbos, Erev Regel. Oh, what happened was his day 7 falls out on Shabbos, Erev Yom Tov. So what's that halacha here? Well, it depends. According to Abba Shol, he could shave today. Because, as we said, Abba Shol holds Miktzas Hayom Kikulei. Once he enters the 7th day, his Shiva is over. He begins the Shloshim, which allows him to be Megaleach when it's Erev Yom Tov. So he could have shaved today. He has no excuse, no reason to shave on Yom Tov. Tana bara Savlak Abba Shol. Oh, again, and we're speaking that what? It's Shabbos today. Forgot that point. It's Shabbos today. It's day 7, but it's Shabbos. So you can't shave. Technically, you can't shave. Right? Because it's Shabbos. So he's an oinus. Right? Circumstances beyond his control that are limiting his ability, that are preventing him from being a galeach. So he's like any other oinus in the Mishnah. Like a person who was released from prison, came in Medina Sayyam, who couldn't take care of himself before Yom Tov, he can shave on Yom Tov. Tana Bara, so the second Tana, meaning the Brisa, that allows the Oval to shave on Chol HaMoed, Sobel Kabbash Shol, holds like Shitas Abba Shol, the Amar, Miktzas Hayam Kikulei. Experiencing part of a day is considered like the entire day. He's entered day 7. As soon as day 7 arrives, he's in day 7, he experienced it, he has it. V'yem Shvi'i, Oy lo lo lekan lekan. And day 7 can count for 2. It's considered part of the Shiva, the tail end of the Shiva. It's already considered the beginning of the Shloshim experience. So technically, he can be Megaleach today in honor of Yom Tov. V'kiv v'de Shabbos Havi. But since today is Shabbos, Anusu. He's prevented from doing so. He's like any other Anus. Released from prison. Came in Medina Sayyam. And therefore we allow him to shave on Yom Tov. Tana Didan Savla Rabban, our Mishnah, who doesn't add Ava to the list. That's because our Tana is like the Rabbanon. The Amri, they hold Lo Yamrinan Miktzim Kikulei. We don't say Miktzim Kikulei in this case. Vakati Lo Shalom Avelos Shiva. So since day 7 of his Avelos falls out on Shabbos Erev Yom Tov, there would be no reason to allow him to shave on Yom Tov because, as some of Farshim learn, his Avelis didn't even expire. He didn't even go into the Shloshim before Yom Tov. Right? He only experienced Shiva. He never entered the Shloshim territory before Yom Tov. In this case, Yom Tov will not cancel the Shloshim. Once you start the Shiva and Yom Tov comes along, it cancels it. This fellow never really entered Shloshim. All he had was 7 days. And you need 7 full days for the Shiva phase. And then comes Yom Tov. before he entered the Shloshim. So the Yom Tov will not be matter the Shloshim. So you can't even shave on Yom Tov, some Mefarshim learn. Therefore, there's no heter for him to shave. So bottom line is, there are really two reasons why a person should not be megalech: Avelus related or Yom Tov related. So in this case, where his Shiva, his 7th day, falls out Erev Yom Tov, which happens to be Shabbos. So according to Abba Shol, on account of the Avelus, he can really shave on Yom Tov, because the Yom Tov is mevatel the Avelus. Once he entered the Shloshim, and that happened as soon as the day 7 arrives, mix the same kikuloi, Shiva is up, he's in the Shloshim. So the regular is mevatel the rest of the Shloshim. What do you mean? But you can't shave on Chol HaMoed. Nobody can shave on Chol HaMoed. That's a takana. No, but in this case he's an anus, because day 7, Erev Yom Tov was Shabbos. He couldn't shave. So we allow him to shave on Yom Tov. According to Chachamim, there's no reason at all to allow him to shave, not necessarily because of Yom Tov, but because of Avelis. In this case, Yom Tov is not mevatel the Shloshim, because it was only day 7 that he had before Yom Tov. And day 7 is still in the Shiva. He's not yet entered the Shloshim phase. Now the Brisa added the Kohen as well. A Kohen can shave on Chol HaMoed. Hi Kohen Yechidami, what are we speaking about? Ilay medishalim mishmar te erev regel. Now we know that a Kohen is not meant to groom himself during his mishmar. Right? So every week there was another group of Kehanim who served in the Mikdash. And as we learned in Tanis, went a couple of days ago as well, that we're concerned about the Kohen being presentable during his turn serving in the Mikdash. So no grooming, no haircutting, no washing laundry during that week. Why are we allowing the Kohen to be megalech on Yom Tov? Ilay medishalim mishmar te erev regel. What happened was his turn, his mishmar, concluded. Always concludes on Shabbos, right? It's a Shabbos to Shabbos rotation. So what happened was, his week was over on Erev Yom Tov. Iboyle legluche erev regel. That's not a reason to allow him to shave on Yom Tov. He should have done it right then. Rashi says, of course, on Shabbos you can't be megalech. It means to say on Thursday, the preceding Thursday. Rashi brings the Gemara that even though we don't allow the Kohen to shave during his week, but on Thursday he can do it l'kavet Shabbos, or Thursday or Friday. He could have done it 2 days before he finished his mishmar, before Yom Tov. Litzrich, apparently we're speaking the shalom mishmata beregel. What happened was that he finished his mishmar on Yom Tov, meaning that he served this week, right? Shabbos to Shabbos, Sunday to Shabbos. And when he wanted to take a haircut on Thursday, it was already the first day of Yom Tov. So that prevented him. He couldn't take care of himself then, and therefore, says the Brisa, he's an anus. He can shave on Chol HaMoed. So that's the pshat in this Brisa. A Kohen can be megaleach on Moed in the case where he was prevented from doing so, machmas oinus. But our Mishnah didn't list a Kohen. Didn't put him on this list of individuals who have the heter of Giluch b'Moed. Why? What's the basis? What's the machlekes here? Tana de Dan Savar, our Mishnah holds, there's no reason for him to megaleach. Because really, his Mishmar is not over yet. Kivan the Tanam, we learned in a Mishnah and Sukkah, B'shloisha Prokim B'shana, 3 times a year, 3 Yomim Tovim. How you call him a Shmar Shabbos? All the groups of Kehanim had equal rights. B'murei Haragolim, to partake in the Karbonis. A Murei means those that are spoken about, the Karbonis of the Regolim. These are public Karbonis, not relating to that week. These are Yom Tov Karbonis. Everybody has equal rights to participate, to be makriv, to eat, u'b'chiluk lecha aponim, to have a chelik in lecha aponim. And therefore, since you have a chelik in the avoida, command lo yishalem mishmarte b'regel dam. It's as though his mishmar is not yet concluded. He's still serving, and therefore you're not meant to groom yourself during your mishmar. There's no reason to allow him to do it on the Chol HaMoed. The Tana Barasav, the second Tana of the Brisa, who allows the Kohen to megalech on Chol HaMoed, he holds avagav de shayach b'anach mishmaris, even though he relates to the other groups, meaning he's still part of the avodah, but it's not really his week. Mishmarte, miya shlimalei, his personal week, his personal mishmar is already expired. So therefore, he's allowed to be megaleach, right? So he's allowed to be megaleach, and since his mishmar was over on first day of Yom Tov, he couldn't do it on that day because of Yom Tov, so we allow him to do it on Chol HaMoed. So there are two separate reasons to avoid giluach, either because of Yom Tov, we don't want you to come into Yom Tov undignified, or because a kohen is not meant to do so during his mishmar as well. He shouldn't enter his mishmar undignified. In this case, says the Brisa, the kohen factor doesn't exist. His mishmar is over. So although he participates a bit in the goings on in the Mikdash during regular, it's not really his mishmar. The Isra of Giluch doesn't apply in this case. What about the fact that it's Yom Tov? Because of Yom Tov, well, in this case he's an honest. He wanted to do so before Yom Tov, he couldn't do it because it was during his mishmar, so we give him that free pass. All those individuals who are allowed to shave the Chol HaMoed, the cases that we spoke about in the Mishnah, released from prison, these cases people who are nusim, these circumstances not lend to them shaving before Moed, and therefore they can do so b'Moed. Mutar legalech me'evlin, they can do so during their avelis as well. A person arrived from out of town and he's encountering an avelis situation. He's an anus. He can shave during that avelis as well. Vatani, we learned in the Brisa Asurim, even the individuals who experience difficult situations, circumstances did not allow them to shave before the avelis. They can't do so by avelis. There's no heter during avelis. When the Brisa allows, we're speaking b'shetakfu avelav. Takef means close succession. He experienced one tragic event after the other, one avelis after the other successively, in which case he's overloaded, overburdened with hair, with dirty laundry. This is where we allow some leeway in this case. Well, if we're speaking about such a type of difficult circumstance, so then it doesn't have to be specifically about those people who arrived from out of town or was released from prison. We don't need that element. Any person who experiences takfu avelav has this heter, the sanya. Takfu avelav zeh achar zeh. If one experiences one avelis after the other, hichbet se'or mekel batar. If his hair load gets heavy, he can trim it a bit with a razor. He can do laundry with water. So we allow some leeway in this case. We don't need a special circumstance of a fellow being released from prison, all those cases. But we learned a pshat on this price. In the case of Tachfu Avelav, although you can take a trim, but it's just a trim with a razor, without a proper scissor. You have to deviate. You have to downgrade. B'mayim, b'mechabes his clothing with water, without any cleansing agents. So typically, Tachfu Avelav allows for something, but not a proper haircut, not a proper laundering. But in a case where he also experienced an oinus on top of that, right? So he arrived from Dinas Hayam, he couldn't take a haircut out there, he comes in, already loaded up with hair, and then another Avelis. In this case, we allow for more. We allow for a proper haircut and a proper laundering. Rav Chizah, the Semeris, we learn from here the fact that only in certain cases we can do kibus by an aval b'mayim. Apparently, typically that's a problem. Aval also b'tachpoisis, an aval may not do laundry even with water under ordinary circumstances. Okay, let's do a quick chazara of today's daf. Even a Talmud can be menada l'chvoidoi. Are we menada a Talmud chacham? Rish Lakish says no. Kaseo kalayla. But others disagree. That's once he repeats a repetitive offender, we put him into Nidui. We have the story of the Tzurm Rabbanon, who was placed in Nidui. This fellow who had bad rumors circulating about him. We have the story of Marzucha Chasida, who would be careful to first be Meshamet himself, and then the Talmud. This way he would ensure that he addresses it in a timely manner. In Marava they were careful. Even a Tzurm Rabbanon, they would not be Menada, rather they would give him Malchus instead. A person sees he's being overwhelmed by the Yetzer Hara. We have the Rabbi Loi telling us Mis'ata b'shcherim to avoid chet. What is Shamta? Either Sham Misa or Shmama Yiyah. What is the effect of Shmama, of Shamta, of Nidui? Misa or Aini. We have the story of the Kelev who passed away, We had the story of the Gavra Alma, who was affected by Nidui. We learned that another Metzora could be Megaleach. In any case, even if they had the opportunity to do so before Yom Tov, why? So that they don't create an impression that you can be Masha Karbanis. We had the case of the Avel as well. So his 7th day of Avelis falls out on Shabbos, Erev HaRegel. The Brisa says he can shave on Yom Tov, because we're in line with Abba Shaul, who says, Mixas Yom Kikula, he's already into his Shloishim, the Regel cancels the Shloishim, and he would have liked to take a haircut before Yom Tov. He was withheld from doing so because of Shabbos. So you can do so on Yom Tov itself. Rabbanan say no. He never got into the Shloishim at all. And therefore he cannot do Giluach on Yom Tov. In this case, the Regel doesn't interfere with the Shloishim because he never had the Shloishim before Yom Tov. And that's the Tana of Al Mishnah. The Brisa adds that a Kohen as well can be Megalech b'Yom Tov. What are we speaking about? That his Mishmar concluded right in the beginning of Yom Tov. Says the Brisa, okay, he was an honest, he would like to shave, but he couldn't. Therefore he can do so on Chol HaMoed. Our Mishnah holds, no, he's still in his Mishmar. He still serves on Yom Tov. So on account of the fact that he's a Kohen in the Mishmar, that doesn't allow him to be Megalech. We learned that in the case of Takfu Avelav, if a person experiences successive Avelius, he can do things b'shinoi, giluach with a tar, kibus b'mayim. But if on top of that he was also nanas, he came from out of town, and then he experienced these avelius, then he could do things in an ordinary manner. All the best to you. B'siras Tov, and much hatzlacha.